you want to live long, they have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIPC.
You'll never get a second chance.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Saturday Night on the Circle, and I'm your bespectacled curmudgeon, Ethan Hatcher. Happy to return to these hallowed airwaves with producer Gavin stepping in for producer Jack, who is out. And producer Gavin will be doing the duties and beep, 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 pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. I think this is the first time that you and I have had the chance to work together. Gavin, how long have you been with the station?
I've been here for I think 4 months now.
4 months now?
Maybe a little bit longer.
They treating you right? Or they're raking you over the coals? Usually there's a break-in period for the producers, because I used to sit in that chair.
That was my first month, was the break-in period.
Yeah.
I went straight to IST, so they were like, you know what, trial by fire.
Exactly. But hopefully things will be easier for you here on Saturday Night on the Circle. We usually like to keep things pretty relaxed, pretty cool. And, of course, we have some excellent friends who are always with us in the chat, on the live chat. You can join us on the YouTube machine, where I think right now it is mislabeled. You will find us at the Home and Garden Show, but we are streaming live, and that's okay. We'll just roll with the punches and go with it from there. Sometimes the technology just doesn't want to cooperate with you. Speaking of things that don't want to cooperate, neither does the General Assembly. I don't know how closely, producer Gavin, you've been following the developments in the State House, but it's the Republicans have gutted the centerpiece issue for Governor Braun in committee. It's utterly ridiculous. He came with the most meager of proposals to turn back the clock of property taxes back to 2021 rates, which is not a big ask. It is pre the enormous, expansive inflation of 50%, 100% increases that some people have had to deal with. But the General Assembly, it's not good enough. They're too addicted to the government giveaways. Fortunately, the governor seems to be, sticking up for the Hoosier taxpayer. He's showing a spine, and he says he's not ruling out a veto if that's what it comes to. Where's my sound? Am I on?
A core tenet of Braun's campaign included a reset of property tax rates and assessments to 2021 amounts. Voters were also promised hard caps on future increases. The version of Senate Bill 1 passed Monday afternoon includes neither of these protections. Braun says he was elected by people who voted for those changes, and he says he has a duty to make good on his campaign promises.
I've got many levers at my disposal. I ran on it and won with a near record margin. So I think that needs to be listened to by folks running local governments and school districts.
Braun says those powers include potentially vetoing the legislation.
If you were passed a property tax bill that did not provide, in your opinion, sufficient relief for the taxpayers, would you be prepared to veto that legislation?
Definitely would be. And problem is, when you veto as a governor in Indiana, it can be overridden with a simple majority.
Braun could also call a special session. With a potential rate increase coming this November, this could get emergency consideration. Braun tells me it's something he's not ruling out.
I hope we don't have to go to that, but I can tell you I'm going to keep explaining it simply and make them prove it.
Do it.
The General Assembly is definitely feeling the pressure at this point, because the Senate did everything they could to just ram it through the chamber. First reading, second reading, amendment process, third reading, and off to the House it goes. They passed it, and here's the irony. They authored the bill. But yet they say, there are enormous flaws with SB 1 in its current form. Morons, you wrote it. And now they're shipping it off to the House with the expectation that a lot of their buddies there are going to also similarly put up with the gutted bill. But reducing growth is unacceptable. We have to reset. We have to take it back, because Hoosiers' homes are being threatened by these 50%, by these 100% property tax increases, which is what the governor's bill is seeking to resolve. Now, we do have some allies in the House in the form of J.D. Prescott and Andrew Ireland and a handful of other representatives, but otherwise it is incumbent upon you to keep up the pressure on these knuckleheads who, have now moved on from their fear-mongering about schools and fire departments and police, and now they're trying to say, this is coming from Democrat Greg Taylor, if we pass property tax reform, get this, producer Gavin, they're not going to be clearing the snow off the roads? They're holding the snow plows hostage now? Give me a break.
Be careful, because this is what's going to end up happening. When the snow plow needs to come out and they need to plow your street, do you want us to have to pay a fee for it? Or, better yet, don't have snow plows. Or here's one, street lights. Street light gets ran over by a truck in an accident. You want it replaced? Sorry, can't issue debt to pay for these improvements. How about this one? For those of us who live in Marion County, we live in a combined sewer water overflow. That means the same sewer water and our sink water goes into the same pipe. When it backs up into your house, what are you going to tell the government because they haven't changed out to combined sewer?
Hey, can you give me some money?
No.
Fascist.
These people are trying to gaslight you into believing that government simply didn't exist before the year 2021. There was no means to pay for the street lights. There was no means to pay for the snow plows, no way to clear the roads without these egregious property tax increases. Now tell me, producer Gavin, does that smell like bullpucky to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big old pile of bullpucky. I remember the streets being quite well lit. And this is a double irony coming in the city where this year was, I think, possibly the most miserable response to snow in recent memory. They just didn't plow the damn roads. And we are at a deficit of snow plows. There was at a time where we were staffed with 60, 70 snow plows plus, and now it's down to 20. What happened? The revenue has increased, but the service has decreased. And then they're trying to hold hostage the service. You know, it's like a mafia operation. You know, it sure would be a shame if something happened to this nice snowplow operation you got here. Except you've already ruined it, guys. So what's the deal? It is absolutely shameless what's going on in the State House, and you have to put up the pressure. And fortunately, it seems like the governor is at least in tune with the Hoosier taxpayer, and he is threatening to veto the bill in its current form and take these knuckleheads and call them into a special session if that's what it takes. Meanwhile, you got Democrats like Greg Taylor and Greg Porter's completely dropping the ball. Think about the opportunity that is being presented to state Democrats in Indiana right now, because they have an issue that if they focused and centered on, they could make a compelling case against the Republicans with property taxes and connect with Hoosiers to further the interests of their party. But they're not doing it. Instead, they're playing games and they're grandstanding and, they're making jokes on the State House floor. Here's Greg Porter's, who felt so compelled to bring out a visual aid. Now, I'm all for visual aids, producer Gavin, if they are called for, if they are well tailored to the argument that you're presenting. But here's what Greg Porter's did with his time.
When we look at this budget, it is not sturdy enough. With the Speaker's permission, already pre-approved, I understand the rules.
It's been granted.
We got to drill down on this budget.
And he brings out a drill.
We really have to drill down on this budget.
I have never said that you are not good at what you do. It's just that what you do is not worth doing.
What are we doing here? He brings a drill onto the State House floor so he can make a pun. We got to drill down on the budget. Okay. Greg Porter's, now we see how you're using the taxpayers' time, which is to say you are wasting it. That's ridiculous. And put into context that not so long ago, State Representative Bob Baining got in trouble for bringing on a prop a few weeks ago. I guess his wasn't pre-approved, but this is just this is ridiculous. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle, 93 WIBC. Before we go to the next segment, there was one other issue that I wanted to talk about. This was an undocumented immigrant who was caught here in Indianapolis and is now being deported on, or under, I should say, the Laken-Riley Act that was passed by the Congress after he was involved in a fatal car accident, unfortunately costing the life of a Hoosier citizen.
When Domingo Juan came here to the Jackson County Judicial Center for his bench trial, he walked to security and asked the Jackson County prosecutor where to go. The prosecutor, recognizing who he was, alerted the ICE agents who were here to arrest him.
He's a problem for Guatemala now.
According to Congresswoman Erin Houchen, this is not the first time Domingo Juan Juan has been deported from the United States.
He actually had been deported under a prior administration and then came back under the Biden administration.
In March of 2024, Juan Juan crossed the center line of US 50 near Seymour, hitting 27-year-old Brad Kastner head-on, killing him.
Domingo Juan Juan was not speeding or under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Under current Indiana law, the only charge available to me is operating a vehicle without ever receiving a license.
Court records show Juan Juan has 2 previous charges for driving without ever getting a license.
My office gave this man pretrial diversion both times.
Driving a car without ever getting a license is a misdemeanor. The Lincoln-Riley Act, signed by President Trump, is targeting undocumented immigrants that are charged with more serious crimes,
including burglary, theft, assaulting a law enforcement officer, and crimes that result in serious bodily injury or death.
Because Brad Kastner died in the car crash, that's how the Lincoln-Riley Act is able to be used on Juan Juan. Now, ICE will be deporting him back to Guatemala.
Get in your mouse and get out of here.
Biden's porous border policy lured and incentivized this criminal illegal alien to come to Indiana, and it cost the life of a Hoosier. Fortunately, Donald Trump and his policies through the Lincoln-Riley Act are protecting the lives of Hoosiers and then deporting criminal illegals like in this instance. Thanks for listening to the show. More on the way. Stay tuned. More coming up.
Kendall and Casey.
This is a bill that prohibits minors under 16 from using social media without parental permission.
This is an example of government trying to resolve a problem that they have no business being in, which is how you parent your kid. If you want your kid to be on social media, that's your right as a parent. You dictate that.
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIPC and WIPC.com.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numbness, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Matt Schulke, chiropractic neurologist and board certified in neuropathy. What is neuropathy?
Neuropathy is nerve damage in the feet or hands.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
Absolutely, and we get amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, pain, or balance issues, call Dr. Schulke today for a free nerve damage screening. This screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for their specialized treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Simply call 463-400-3338. Act now. Call 463-400-3338 for your free nerve damage screening. 463-400-3338.
Dads happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
I know, it's cold, it's gross, it's winter. But hey, here at Life Church, we're planning for spring and summer. We have some really great events planned for your kids and teenagers, and they start soon. So don't miss the opportunity to register your kids and teens for our exciting events where they'll hang out with friends and grow closer to God while doing it. So go to lifechurchin.com, I'm new, Next Gen, and scroll down to the events. You can register your kids today and get those dates on your calendar and dream of warm, sunny things. We'll see you soon.
As an IT professional who handles e-waste, you have the opportunity to guarantee your data security, receive 100% landfill-free disposal, and have peace of mind with R2V3, RIOS, and NAID certifications. Technology Recyclers provides guaranteed data destruction, 100% landfill-free disposal, and the certification to back it up. Protect your data while saving the planet. Businesses receive free pickup of your e-waste from Technology Recyclers. Visit tech-recyclers.com. That's tech-recyclers.com.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
There are 48 million unpaid family caregivers in the United States. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to access a free guide to help navigate your caregiving journey.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Now what's right is right.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. In their desperation to make Donald Trump look badly, Democrats will do anything, even if it exposes their own hypocrisy in the process. This is Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher, producer Gavin on the board, pressing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. I'm referring in this instance to Democrats closing down the JFK Presidential Center, Presidential Library. Don't worry, it was reopened again on Wednesday. It was only closed for 24 hours on Tuesday. Have you heard about this, producer Gavin? The closure of the JFK Presidential Library?
I have not.
They're trying to blame this on the DOJ cuts to wasteful governmental spending. What's interesting about this, producer Gavin, is it appears the JFK Presidential Library is the only presidential library that's experiencing this issue. So if it was truly related to Department of Government efficiency cuts, then wouldn't this be experienced across all presidential libraries? The other interesting thing about this is, of course, that presidential libraries are primarily funded through private donations. That was the pitch to Congress when they were originally proposed, because why should taxpayers continue, to fund these monuments to ego that are presidential libraries? No, they are they are gathered funds during the lifetime of the president and then put into a trust and a charitable organization to assure further growth and maintenance in the future. Now, portions of the funding does come from the National Archives. Because of the presidential documents and the care and maintenance thereof, but otherwise much of the funding comes from private sources. So this is just grandstanding by the Democrats at the JFK Center. Oh no, it's Department of Government Efficiency, when it's nothing of the sort. They had the staff at the ticketing center, I guess, was allegedly covered there, and then after Donald Trump released 200,000 federal employees on probationary status, allegedly those were affected, but not any of the other presidential libraries, which is very interesting. Some more grandstanding from the Democrats. President Trump, he seems to be mulling over an idea that I think could have disastrous consequences for the American economy, despite its apparent popularity, and that is something that's called the DOJ dividend. This could produce a $5,000 check to ordinary Americans, which on its face, sure, that sounds great, but it could have disastrous consequences. Here's what Donald Trump was talking about.
And saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day. And there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOJ savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt, which is, if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down. It doesn't matter. And we don't look at it as a piece of real estate. It's America. We're going to get it down through intelligence, hard work, and as Elon said, a word called caring. You have to care.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
What do you mean you've seen this? It's brand new.
Yeah, well, I saw it on a rerun.
It's a rerun.
You'll find out.
Here's what has me most terrified, Producer Gavin. I don't think Donald Trump truly learned anything from his mistakes during the pandemic. It wasn't called a Doge dividend during the pandemic. It was just a good old government stimulus. But I'm sure everybody, if they don't, they should remember the enormous cost that we all paid collectively and economically in the form of inflation because we turned on the government printing machine and gave away government stimulus that then turned into inflation that rocked the nation. It was disastrous. We did it, what was it, 3 times? We can't do it again. And of course, you may be saying to yourself, well, that's different. Ethan, this is no such thing. It's not a government stimulus. We're not turning on the printers. We're just returning money that was extracted from the American people. That's gone. That's just a pipe dream, ladies and gentlemen. It's already been spent. We are in debt $40 trillion. Okay. So any money that's coming back needs to be paying off the debt and not be returned into the economy in a way that could stimulate inflation at a time when Americans are least able to afford it. So I am not for the Doge dividend. I think that's a bad idea. And another idea which on its surface might sound enticing but could have disastrous long-term consequences, is removing the penny, which Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says is definitely on the way.
Are you definitively getting rid of the penny?
Brett, I've got to say that President Trump wants to make the penny extinct, and that's part of the cost savings. It costs about 3 cents to make 1 cent, and even in Washington that math doesn't work.
So it's going soon.
It's going soon.
This could be a slippery slope that removes independence from the American consumer. Because sure, you might say the penny is irrelevant. We don't need to have the penny in transactions. We can just round everything up to the nickel. But then it becomes very easy to say, well, why are we paying for nickels? Why are we paying for dimes? Why are we paying for physical currency when, we could just have it all in digital form? We could have our own government digital currency, a cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin, but government Bitcoin. Ooh, just the idea of that sounds absolutely terrifying. And suddenly, the privacy of commercial transactions is completely removed. You have no ability to transact between private citizens or between commercial institutions without a record at that point. Everything would be titled and tracked back to you. Your currency, your bank account, your connection to your currency could be taken away with the flip of a switch. You can't flip a switch and take away a $100 bill. I have currency that is in my pocket right now that the government cannot currently extract from me. That would not be the case if it were a digital currency. And my fear is that by removing the penny, it is the slippery slope that starts the conversation towards ultimately removing physical currency in all its forms. And then again, would give greater control over to the government. Now, Donald Trump, it's not all bad. He is promising big tax cuts that I think definitely will be a stimulus to the economy. Will it overcome a potential fourth government stimulus? I'm unsure of that.
I'll be working with the Republican Congress to pass the largest tax cuts in American history. And that includes, obviously, we have to extend the Trump tax cuts, which were, until now, the largest. We're going to dramatically cut taxes for families and for workers and for companies, including no tax on tips and hopefully no tax on Social Security and no tax on overtime. And that overtime one is a sleeper because I think a lot of people are going to be spurred on to do a lot of extra work. When they hear that, it's a lot of companies really like it and a lot of people really like it. The new Trump tax cuts will also include 100% expensing for new factory construction in the United States and anything else that you're going to buy with capital. If you buy something that is going to be good for our country, we're going to let you expense it, 1 year expense. And I did that the first time, and everybody was saying, can you go back to that? Now you still get, I guess, 40% or whatever, but it pares down. But we're going to bring that right up to the top level. I think that had a lot to do with the success that I had during my first term. And we'll substantially cut taxes for all domestic producers of oil and gas and just about everything else that they produce.
This will begin to make things right.
Middle-class tax cuts were one of the biggest drivers of the Trump economy circa 2016 to 2020. That with the reduction of the corporate tax rate from, what was it, the mid 30s down to 21%, which now he's talking about potentially taking that down to 15%, could again drive the economy further and entice corporations which had left to return and then provide jobs to American citizens. So that to say, we got some ups, we got some downs, but overall, I'm still feeling confident about Trump administration 2.0. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Sound Dump is up next.
Kendall and Casey.
This is a bill that prohibits minors under 16 from using social media without parental permission.
This is an example of government trying to resolve a problem that they have no business being in, which is how you parent your kid. If you want your kid to be on social media, that's your right as a parent. You dictate that.
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIPC and WIPC.com.
This Valentine's season, the Ministry of Preborn invites you to become a heartbeat hero and share a love that goes beyond a box of chocolates, a love that saves lives. Every day, thousands of women are told the lie that abortion is their only option, that they can't do it, that there's no hope. But when a mother in crisis sees her baby on an ultrasound at a Preborn Network clinic, it doubles her chance of choosing life. This isn't just an image on a screen. It's all about a mother hearing her baby's heartbeat and realizing the precious gift growing inside of her. One Preborn supporter said, "Knowing my gift could save a life was the most meaningful act of love I could give." For $28, you can provide an ultrasound and help a mother in crisis choose life. $140 provides 5 ultrasounds. This Valentine's season, take a stand, be bold, become a heartbeat hero. Dial pound 250 and say baby. That's pound 250 baby, or visit preborn.com/hope. That's preborn.com/hope.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh. We told you. Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Jane Fergus. The Vatican saying Pope Francis is now in critical condition. He was admitted to the hospital on February 14th.
He has since been diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs, along with bacterial, viral, and fungal infections on top of his chronic bronchitis. Right now, dozens are gathering outside the hospital to pray.
It's Fox's Stephanie Bennett. President Trump at the Conservative Political Action Conference in Maryland today, talking about how he eliminated DEI programs in the federal government.
And notified every single government DEI officer that their job has been deleted. They're gone. They're fired.
A group of DEI workers are suing to try and stop that DEI executive order. America's listening to Fox News.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hi, this is Malia with Family Heating and Air, and as a mom myself, I know it's really important to keep the kiddos healthy. Air quality, humidity, those are super big issues on my concern list. If you share any of these concerns, give family a call, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Emmer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. You don't own me. Don't say I...
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIPC.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's once again time to don your faithful hazmat suit as we dive through the slime and the sludge of another weekly media cycle. We'll begin with a show of confidence and American bravado from the president in the face of Canadian opposition on the hockey field. Also, 60 Minutes follows German prosecutors in a terrifying glimpse of government censorship on display, and Illinois Governor J.P. Pritzker ineffectively fearmongers as Democrats flounder to effectively oppose the president. All this and more for this edition of The Sound Dump.
I'll take you for a ride. I'm a garbage truck.
It's the Saturday Night Sound Dump on 93 WIPC.
I take you to the dump. I show you the sights, you know you want to ride. I'm a garbage truck.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your Bohemian codger, Ethan Hatcher. Producer Gavin, beep, 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 pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. This week will begin as Peter Ducey asked if Trump had a bet with Justin Trudeau regarding the unfortunate outcome of the USA-Canadian hockey game on Wednesday. And here was Caroline Leavitt responded.
Does President Trump have a bet with Trudeau about this USA-Canada hockey game tonight? And when there is a big hockey game on, is the president watching for the goals or for the fights?
Probably both. I think he's watching for the United States to win tonight. I know he talked to the USA hockey team this morning. He talked to the players after their morning practice around 10 o'clock. And I also spoke to some folks from that team after. They were jubilant over President Trump's comments to the team. I believe they're going to put out a video of that call. So he looks forward to watching the game tonight, and we look forward to the United States beating our soon-to-be 51st state, Canada.
America, America, America. Yeah, come out again to save the mother. Yeah, America. Yeah, freedom is the only way. Yeah.
I love that the press secretary is showing bravado, the president, again, identifying with American sportsmanship. It's awesome. That was after, of course, the Canadian-American hockey game where the Canadians booed the national anthem and then proceeded to get their ass spanked. Unfortunately, that was not the outcome of the game on Wednesday. I believe it was the Americans who lost, 3-2? Producer Gavin, did you see the outcome of that match?
I think you're right.
It was overtime loss. But the Canucks came out on top. Unfortunately, of course, they are one with the ice field, a little bit predictable, but we still gave them a good run for their money. Jasmine Crockett, of course, rooting for the Canadians as she does for Mexico, which is a strange position to be in for a representative of the United States to be rooting for countries other than the United States.
Really been the one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada
and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is, and they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him, so don't act surprised.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.
In the next breath, of course, Representative Crockett will defend the hordes of illegal immigration into the United States, but she'll root for Mexico, which is again, incredibly puzzling. So the countries that you're talking about, they want to come here, but you are rooting for there, which, you know, again, Jasmine Crockett, just a clown. That's another indication of that. Here is a terrifying segment that was aired on 60 Minutes as they were conferring with German prosecutors who are targeting citizens in their country for sharing memes. And if the Democrats could get away with it, they would do that here as well. This is a peek into countries that don't share the constitutional protections that you and I enjoy.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes. The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
that sticks around forever.
Yeah.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders. But in most cases, a judge levies a stiff fine and sometimes keeps their devices. How do people react when you take their phones from them?
They are shocked.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany. Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online.
Stop it, please, I beg you! It's a sin! It's a sin! It's a sin!
This is the definition of nanny state censorship government brought to life, where they are literally taking away your laptop or your phone like you're some kind of child. This is how you punish a teenager. This is how you punish an adolescent, not a grown adult, not for something that was of any serious consequence, which sharing a meme is not. That's absolutely ridiculous. And then think about the preposterous nature of, you know, if I called you a crumb and a bum to your face, producer Gavin, and said that your mama wears combat boots, that would be a crime in and of itself if we were in Germany. But if I published that online, it would be a bigger crime because I've now shared this with the world and they can see it. And it's documented that I said you're a crumb and a bum and your mom wears combat boots. Germany has fallen, and America should no longer continue to fund its military protection, as we do. We fund their defense, both monetarily and then also through boots on the ground with American soldiers overseas in German army bases. Why are we continuing to maintain these army bases across Europe? It doesn't make sense. Certainly in distant post-World War II modern era. Absolutely absurd. But the Germans obviously have gone mad with power as they're arresting social media users for just posting memes. Here was Stephen Miller interacting with the press, calling out the 4 years that media ignored Biden's dementia and open mental decline.
And also, who was running the White House when Joe Biden was in office? Because I don't know a single person who believes it was Joe Biden.
Yes. You're tempting me to say some very harsh things about some of our media friends. Yes, it is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level. Just one man, and the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government.
It's funny how Democrats are now suddenly engaged and concerned with the power behind the presidency, which is not being hidden. Of course, Donald Trump is openly cooperating with Elon Musk, as was talked about in the campaign. This isn't a surprise. And most of the employees in the federal government are appointed, not elected. So, you know, but then they were all too happy to ignore the open mental decline of Joe Biden, and then never once questioned who was running the country during that time. Suddenly, though, of course, they feign concern for America, as is J.B. Pritzker here, as he is fear-mongering, saying that deporting illegals won't be where President Trump ends. He'll expand it to deporting transgender people and gay people and minorities and women. Ooh.
After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged all the immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women, and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, after that, when the problems we started with are still there staring us in the face, what comes next? All the atrocities of human history lurk in the answer to that question. What comes next?
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Okay, but you've missed an important step there, Governor. Before we can ask what's next, we actually have to get there first. And nobody is talking about deporting gay people, deporting transgender people, deporting disabled people, etc. It's this ridiculous fear-mongering that the Americans tired of during the Biden administration, and they voted the Democrats out. This is not going to fly a second time as it did during the first Trump presidency, and this is clearly a pathetic attempt floundering at finding an effective opposition to the president. Elsewhere in the country, protesters, this was hilarious. These are illegal aliens who were shouting. They literally did the meme. They're shouting, "Viva la Mexico," but don't send us back there.
No one is illegal. No one is illegal. Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
And these protesters don't seem to understand the enormous irony of cheering and singing the praise of a country they are literally begging not to be returned to. Hilarious. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle 93 WIBC. More on the way. Up next.
93 WIBC.
Current resolution agreed to.
$340 billion budget, border security, the military, and energy production.
Another update is just minutes away.
A man got into it with Lawrence police. A scuffle broke out. Lawrence police are still looking into this.
On the level.
Bill on illegal immigration.
Todd Rokita said.
This is great news.
On the go.
Accused of planning a mass shooting at Morrisville High School.
Trinity Shockley is in a Morgan County jail without bond.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
He's not just a real estate agent. He is a real estate expert. Mark Dietl, the only real estate expert I would trust and recommend with the sale of my home. How about Katie and Chris in Perry Township? Sadly, their marriage had ended. They were both ready to sell and move forward as soon as possible. Mark Dietl made it happen fast and easy. Their home sold for more than they anticipated in 24 hours with 17 showings and multiple offers.
Mark Dietl is the best in the business because of the guarantee.
Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is what separates Mark Dietel from the competition. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today. At least start a conversation. 317-755-4232 or go to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel, markdietel.com.
It's tax time, and tax time is your time to buy a new Nissan and get double your tax refund or down payment only at Andy Moore Nissan of Indianapolis. For a limited time, when you buy any new Nissan, Andy Moore Nissan will double your tax refund or down payment up to $5,000. That means your $1,000 becomes $2,000. Your $2,000 becomes $4,000. Your $4,000 becomes $8,000. This month only, Andy Moore Nissan will double your down payment up to $10,000. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. Good credit, bad credit, even no credit. Our credit experts will get you approved with the best terms, with as little as $0 down on any new Nissan in stock. Andy Moore Nissan is making deals other dealers won't and approving deals other dealers can't. Andy Moore Nissan, 4302 Lafayette Road, Indianapolis, Indiana.
We all have people in our lives we interact with. Maybe it's your favorite barista, a neighbor who waves to you every morning, a coworker you grab lunch with, or maybe it's me, the hairstylist you've gone to for years. What if you learned I had a substance use disorder? Would it change how you see me? It's okay to see the addiction, but when you choose to see the person, not just their disease, it can help change someone's life. Learn more at seebeyondtheaddiction.org.
Hammer and Nigel.
The commander-in-chief doesn't have to watch Matlock with pudding smeared on his face. We've got a commander-in-chief that no longer falls up and down the stairs multiple times. I'm excited for that.
Hammer and Nigel. Afternoons on 93 WIBC. This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. The podcasts are uploaded to WIBC.com, as well as my personal podcasting page, SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm. Thanks for listening to the show. Also, you can find us streaming live on the YouTube machine. Make sure to hop in the chat, say hello to the gang, and also give the show a like. Also, always appreciate that. This segment wanted to talk about a sad state of affairs as Bloomington police caught up with an 11-year-old who had crashed into a ditch after his father of the year had requested his 11-year-old son drive them both home from school because he was too drunk. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Jarvis Kanata, 34, charged with operating a vehicle while intoxicated and endangering a minor, level 6 felony, operating a vehicle while intoxicated with a prior conviction, also a level 6 felony, and neglect of a dependent, also a level 6 felony. So he's got some pretty serious charges coming towards him. Fortunately, everybody is okay. That's a situation that easily could have gone very, very wrong very, very quickly, especially after the 11-year-old, he knew he couldn't be take control of the vehicle. He told his father no 4 different times. This, according to the police, as his father essentially forced him to take control of the vehicle, and he lost that control because his 11-year-old body wasn't able to fully reach the gas pedal and the brake pedal, and then he got them confused. He accidentally accelerated, overcorrected, and then they both ended up in the ditch. Fortunately, this escapade did not result in loss of life, but it easily could have, and it's a sad state of affairs when we see this kind of neglect that's not just isolated incidences, but seems to be relatively widespread, as was the case for a 13-year-old in Detroit who was tied to over 11 home invasions, assaults, and knife-point rape attempts. A 13-year-old. This is the kind of neglect that, had there not been an intervention here for the 11-year-old of Jarvis, Canada, might have developed because of the lack of parental oversight and healthy influence in their children's lives. That 13-year-old, of course, began his crime spree when he was only 10. It's sad stuff out there. Thanks for listening to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hour 2 on the way, and Conspiracy Carl will be joining us for his weekly segment. Don't miss it. Stay tuned to Saturday Night on The Circle.
In purgatory, tortured souls lie trapped somewhere between heaven and you know where. This is where we find ourselves, trapped somewhere between winter and spring, tortured by strange weather patterns.
As the weather worsens,
Cold, snow, and ice.
These temperatures,
then thaw, rain, and flood. Let us be your guide through all stages of
spring,
winter, your severe winter,
spring,
and spring weather station, 93 WIBC.
Terry Stacy for Cardwell Do It Best Home Center, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side. Your discount roofing headquarters. Stop in for wholesale and factory direct pricing on the roofing shingles and supplies you need at the price you love. They offer dimensional and 3-tab shingles at low, low prices. Cardwell also carries a full line of best look quality paints produced by Sherwin-Williams, America's largest paint manufacturer, with paint and primer all in one. Cardwell also carries a full line of Hillman fasteners, and for winter, snow shovels, rock salt, and ice melter all in stock. At Cardwell Do It Best, you'll also find a full line of lawn and garden supplies, plumbing, electrical, with lumber and building materials too. Cardwell Home Center. Shop online at cardwellhomecenter.com with over 67,000 products available and free shipping to the store. Cardwell Do It Best, 3205 Madison Avenue, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side, serving the greater Indianapolis community since 1945.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and when was the last time you gave your carpets some love? Now listen, they're the largest air filter in your home, and unless those carpets are cleaned on a regular basis, the stuff that's in the fibers can be downright scary. There's a good chance you're breathing unhealthy levels of germs and dirt and dander and bacteria that just keep recirculating again and again. Well, here's some really good news. Zero Res has a February special of 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119, plus a 4th room clean free and $75 off air duct cleaning. And with their Gotta Love It guarantee, they're going to make sure your investment with them is a great experience. The Zero Res service is easy to line up, and you can go online at zeroresindy.com to do some scheduling at your convenience. Mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at $119, plus a 4th room clean for free and $75 off air duct cleaning too. It's Zero Res. Call 317-388-5141 or book things online at zeroresindy.com.
One of the real advantages that we have here at Hendricks is the scope of the services that we have to offer in orthopedics.
Whether they have a hip fracture or they're a high-functioning athlete, we're all working towards the same thing.
To have them be able to have an elective surgery safely and then go home also in a safe fashion is of utmost importance.
We very much want everyone to get back to doing everything that they're doing beforehand. We're really invested in it.
Unstoppable orthopedic care. Learn more at hendricks.org/ortho.
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Prayers for the Pope. Fox News, I'm Jane Fergus. The Vatican has said that Pope Francis is in critical condition since being hospitalized with double pneumonia. Fox's Stephanie Bennett has more.
The Vatican says Pope Francis's health has deteriorated over the last 24 hours, describing his condition as critical. Now, the Vatican says he suffered a prolonged asthma-like respiratory crisis, and he needed blood transfusions because of a low platelet count associated with anemia. Doctors also had to administer a high flow of oxygen because of his breathing crisis. But he remains alert, though he is more unwell, they say, than yesterday, saying at the moment the prognosis remains guarded. Pope Francis was admitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital on February 14th. He has since been diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs, along with bacterial, viral, and fungal infections on top of his chronic bronchitis. Right now, dozens are gathering outside the hospital to pray.
And the Vatican continues Holy Year celebrations without the Pope as he remains hospitalized. President Trump headlining the final day of the annual Conservative Political Action Conference in National Harbor, Maryland today. While addressing a crowd of supporters, the president discusses how he's handling the migrant crisis.
When day one I ended the catch and release, I reinstated remain in Mexico when I signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for the children of illegal aliens.
The Associated Press reporting that approximately 9,200 U.S. troops are at the border. Democrats in Congress have been saying that dreamers, farm workers, and migrant families need to be considered for asylum and not deportation. Officials say a police officer has been killed while responding to reports of a gunman at a central Pennsylvania hospital. The gunman is also dead. America's listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
Israel.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Less snow and more sun. I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending this hour. You'll be seeing a lot of sunshine and warmer temperatures all across Indiana in the coming days.
But you might be asking yourself something else. I'm John Herrick. Like, what about more snow?
That's a great question. It looks like, at least for the next 7 to 10 days, we're going to stay on the warm side of these systems. So snow is looking unlikely.
Aaron Updike with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says temperatures will warm up into the 50s by next week. He says there might be some rain, but he doesn't believe there will be heavy amounts of it.
A Missouri woman named Michelle Bernskoter was sentenced this week in Fort Wayne after she admitted to federal prosecutors that she committed wire fraud. While working as a financial manager, she embezzled nearly $500,000 from her employer to pay personal credit card debt. The FBI and Fort Wayne police worked on this case. An Indianapolis police officer shot a man who was holding a machete last December, and IMPD released the body cam footage on Friday.
Hey, drop the machete. Drop it. Drop it. Drop it, drop it, drop it.
The body cam footage captured the man running at the cops with the weapon just before the gunshots were fired. That person's name was Christopher Worrell. He died at the hospital. No cops were hurt. On the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Now, here's your forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies become mostly sunny. High temperatures getting into the mid-30s for today. Mostly clear tonight. Low temperatures in the lower 20s. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market. Even in winter, we're bringing you the best in farm fresh flavors. Stop in for our fresh salad bar, hot and crispy wing bar, and a cheese selection that is second to none. Got a sweet tooth? Our homemade pies, creamy fudge, and old-fashioned candy will hit the spot. Come see us on US 31 just north of Carmel. We're open every day 9 to 6. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about fresh, local, and delicious. See you soon.
Yeah, pretty much the only place my wife and I have done any furniture shopping over the past few years is Thompson Furniture and Mattress down in Columbus. And right now, they have an incredible Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern factory authorized sale going on. 50% off. These are the best quality sofas, sectionals, recliners in the business. Made in Bern, Indiana with a lifetime warranty. And this sale ends Monday, March 3rd. And don't forget about free delivery from Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service? Need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling? We'll find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
Stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car.
This is Saturday Night on The Circle on 93 WIBC.
There's no stopping me.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hour 2 of Saturday Night on The Circle. Thanks for listening. Podcasts are on WIBC.com and Saturday Night on The Circle.fireside.fm. Also streaming live on the YouTube machine 7 to 9 every Saturday night. Make sure to hop on the show. Give us a like. It always helps us, helps the station with the algorithm. And feel free to log on and hop in the chat while the show is going on. Always great to see your comments. This hour, starting with some happy news, something that many people, including myself, were looking forward to ever since Donald Trump was elected and then inaugurated in January. The announcement has been made. Pam Bondi, Attorney General, says the Epstein files are on her desk and are going to be released.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Now, this is very exciting news. I think many people are enthusiastic to have some sort of closure on the Epstein files. However, producer Gavin, what are we to make of that rather unenthusiastic response from the Attorney General? Haven't seen anything yet.
Me personally, I feel like she knew that the news is looking for some type of bait,
sure,
or like some type of teaser, and I feel like she feels like she could get in trouble if she gave too much away right off the jump like that.
So you think she's playing, and she well could be, because she's a seasoned prosecutor. She has a lot of experience in the area of the law. She could just be keeping her cards close to the chest and not wanting to be revealing too much prematurely. That's very valid.
Because it's not a movie or like anything like that like people can give big teasers to. Like, this is a big deal and something that's very serious.
I feel like in a way that speaks to her qualifications because, of course, Donald Trump, he's a natural showman. If he was sitting on any kind of information and then got asked about it, you better believe he would have talked about it. So the fact that she is behaving very responsibly and very low-key, you're right. That could be a good indication. I would like to see a little bit more enthusiasm, but that's just because we know how much dirt is going to be uncovered. That is sitting in the Epstein file. A lot of dirty hands when it comes to famous politicians, famous people in the industrial world, the private economy, Hollywood, and then all tied to the gross goings on at Sex Pest Island. So to have resolution on that after he was, suicided in the DOJ, I think would be a welcome. As was a welcome change, as was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reopening the Treasury Department for the first time since 2020. I can't believe that they have been closed for 5 years, producer Gavin. 5 years.
This is the first time this door is opening?
First time it's been open since March 2020, since COVID.
Wow. Why'd you want to do this?
Brett, I thought it was important for everybody to come back to the office, and I think reopening the front door of the Treasury building, what better symbol than we are open for business again and everybody's expected back in the office. Every day when I'm in D.C., I'm coming to the office, and I expect everybody else to.
That is delicious. Finally.
And of course, government, they're always the last people to, to drag their feet after many office workers have already had to return to their private sector jobs because COVID times have long since passed us by. Apparently, the Treasury Department employees were still on remote work. They weren't showing up to the office for the last 5 years. No wonder things aren't getting done at the federal level. No wonder there are these gross levels of waste, fraud, and abuse when you don't even have people at the office to oversee the funds. They're just, screwing off on their computer, watching pornography, and playing on their phone. That's what you do when you're not at work. Which is what, was going on in the Treasury Department. So I'm glad to see Scott Bessent returning a level of seriousness to the federal government, as many of the Trump cabinet picks are doing. There is a decided change at the federal level, and Democrats are panicking, especially at the levels of waste, fraud, and abuse that have been exposed, billions of dollars that have been spent on DEI pet projects and giveaways to their buddies that is now coming to an end. Already, Donald Trump touting the $55 billion in savings for American taxpayers.
In less than a single month, the Department of Government Efficiency has already saved over this is just a short period of time, $55 billion. And we're just getting started. That's nothing compared to the numbers that you're talking about, right? We're ending trillions of dollars in waste, and it'll mean much lower inflation, lower interest rates, lower payments on mortgages, credit cards, car loans, and much higher stock markets. I think the stock market's going to be great. In other words, we will rapidly grow our economy by dramatically shrinking the federal government, and we have to do it.
Oh, man. That was totally wicked!
Millions of dollars for these DEI transgender comic books in Colombia, or transgender operas in Peru, or gender studies in Afghanistan, or normalization of LGBTQ in Sri Lanka, or just all sorts of crap that we were on the dial for. Almost 10%, I should say, of BBC charitable giving funded through U.S. aid. So $55 billion, truly just the tip of the spear, the surface, just scratching the surface there. So much more left to be uncovered, especially when they have now reported, apparently, there are people who are receiving Social Security checks that are over 140, 150 years old that have been still getting cashed out, and the money's been being paid. Now, the idea that fraud exists isn't a shock, but I think the more pertinent question is, who is this money being paid to? Because the checks are getting deposited somewhere, and I think we need to have some resolution to that issue, which Democrats are absolutely terrified of. They do not want that answer to be uncovered, because I think it would have some very uncomfortable revelations for them and their friends. That's why Chuck Schumer is livid at the idea of the Department of Government Efficiency cutting any level of wasteful spending. He's like, well, you can't cut everything. Sure, there's a little bit of wasteful spending, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. No, it's all bathwater, my friend. It's time to go. It's got to go, Chucky.
Of course there's some wasteful spending, but you don't use a meat axe and cut everything. We need to look at each program. We need to go through Congress and see what's wasteful and move to eliminate it, and what's very not wasteful but very much needed. I'll give you one example. They went after community health centers in Medicaid. They're among the most efficient producers of health care we have, yet they tried to eliminate them. Makes no sense. They're just using a meat axe and cutting everything, including many things that American families need, want, and approve of.
You're a liar, and you will spend an eternity on this ship.
During the entirety of the Biden administration, there was zero incentive for the senator to discover any levels or rein in any levels of wasteful spending, fraud, and abuse. And now he wants to believe that since Donald Trump is in office, he's going to address this with any level of seriousness. No, my friend. That's why the American people roundly rejected Democrats at multiple levels. That's why the Republicans returned to power in the House, the Senate, and the presidency all at the same time because they don't believe that you have any desire to cut spending, wasteful spending, or any level of spending from the federal government. And they are certainly nervous at now the threat of their government giveaways and their voter buying schemes being put to an end under the Trump administration. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a Indiana icon potentially going away, although I'm not sure that's the case. We'll speculate more coming up in the next segment, so stay tuned.
In purgatory, tortured souls lie trapped somewhere between heaven and you know where. This is where we find ourselves trapped somewhere between winter and spring, tortured by strange weather patterns.
As the weather worsens,
Cold, snow, and ice.
These temperatures,
then thaw, rain, and flood. Let us be your guide through all stages of
spring,
winter, your severe winter,
spring,
and spring weather station, 93 WIBC.
Guys, it's Rob, and as many of you know, I very rarely ever leave my house. And as such, I spend a lot of time in my yard. I love my yard. It's kind of like a little escape. But the other day, I really looked at it. And man, it's just not looking the way I want it to look. And with spring on the horizon, the bigger problem is I don't have a clue how to fix it. Quite frankly, with the work it needs, I probably just don't have the time. So I called Save a Tree, the tree, shrub, and lawn experts. And coming up here in the next couple of weeks, Save a Tree is coming to my house, and they are going to revamp my entire yard. They're going to bring it back to life. They're going to help me make my lawn look the way I want it just in time for spring. Save a Tree is going to make my yard look great after some tough weather. See how beautiful your yard can be. Set up your own evaluation at saveatree.com. SAVATREE.com, or dial pound 250 on your smart device and say the keyword Save a Tree. That's pound 250, keyword Save a Tree.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Exercise Inc. A lot of folks give up on their bodies in their 40s or 50s. Statistically, we gain 1.5 pounds every year past 50, and it's usually a tough slog to fight that. 19 years ago, I took a friend's recommendation, and I went to Exercise Inc. for one of their free consultations. Me? I didn't want to get heavy. I wanted to stay trim and in shape, and that was really a struggle. 19 years ago I went, and 19 years later I'm still going every week. They've helped me to reach and maintain my health and fitness goals, and they do that with specific strength training in only 20 minutes a week. You've just got to try this health and exercise approach, and the consultation is free. My guess is that, like me, you'll be skeptical for the first couple of weeks, and then it happens. You'll feel better. You'll probably lose some weight, and you'll probably look better, too. Go to Exercise Inc. today and sign up for a free consultation. Avon, Brownsburg, Zionsville, and Greenwood, now in Fishers, too. ExerciseInc.com.
Cold weather brings hot savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators now $12,000 off and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. So get in on those hot savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 61,695. Offers good through February 28, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. Being from Oklahoma, I know a thing or two about natural disasters. Tornadoes are common where I'm from and have affected my life and the lives of people I care about. No matter where you live, be aware of the dangers in your area and have a plan. You can create an emergency kit, come up with an evacuation plan, and know where to seek shelter. You never know when a disaster may hit. These simple steps can help save a life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
The Phone Ready quiz from the American Academy of Pediatrics will help you decide if you and your child are ready for their first phone. Go to healthychildren.org/phone ready quiz.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one and only Saturday Night on the Circle, broadcasting from the heart of Indiana, right on Monument Circle, from the MS Building, now owned by Urban One, Radio One. Happy to be here. My name is Ethan Hatcher. That is producer Gavin. Beep, 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 on the board, pushing the buttons to do the things that make the show function. Collectively, we are mourning producer Gavin, the forthcoming loss of an 80-year-old Indiana icon. Tell me, are you familiar with Gray Brothers Cafeteria of Mooresville?
You'll be shocked to hear this is the first topic you've brought up that I actually know about.
Yay! Okay. Well, I mean, everybody knows about Gray's Brothers Cafeteria. Oh my God, it's some fantastic food. When was the last time you were out at Gray's?
Just a couple months ago, actually.
Well, you better make some time to come back. I did. I was just there out on Wednesday. I was planning to make a trip anyway, but then right after the announcement was made on Monday, knew definitely had to be making that return trip to Gray Brothers Cafeteria. They are selling their business of 80 years. The Mooresville location will be no longer.
Gray's Brothers Cafeteria is up for sale, but as Fox 59 Scarlett O'Hara explains, the owners want to reassure their customers that this is not the end for the brand.
On the other 6 days of the week that Gray Brothers Cafeteria is usually open, people here in Mooresville tell me this parking lot gets packed, a sight they say they'll miss with the building on the market.
Very sad, very sad. It's a landmark here.
Right off of State Road 67, it's unmistakable. The place longtime Mooresville resident Wayne Phillips calls the heart and soul of his community.
The price tag on it, something's going to replace it, but it won't be the same as Gray's. Gray's family's been here for many, many, many years.
Home-style cooking served with 80 years of tradition has brought generations of families to Gray's. This week, the owners announced they were putting it up for sale to the tune of $10 million. But even to other locally owned businesses, the impact of Gray's on Mooresville is priceless.
I'm gonna kill myself! I'm going to kill myself, and it's your fault!
You can't take away an icon. You just can't. It ought to be illegal. It ought to be outlawed. Now, I don't think the brand is actually going away. And here's what makes me speculate, Gavin. I'm not sure... unless I'm totally misreading things, which could be possible, I'm not sure the Gray family is actually serious about selling that Mooresville location. Did you hear how much they wanted to sell it for?
Yeah, that's a big price tag.
$10 million. $10 million for this aging building. I mean, yes, spacious for a restaurant, but small for a department store. They're not going to be plopping Kroger's up on that little lot. They're not going to be putting a Walmart or something, like maybe a small hardware store with the level of parking that's afforded there. But then is the land and the building that will then need to be demolished and reconstructed, resituated, revitalized, is that worth $10 million? I don't know. I somewhat doubt that commercial real estate that would need to then be redeveloped would retain that level of value. To me, again, unless I'm just totally misreading the commercial real estate market, maybe it is worth $10 million. I don't know. But to me, what would be worth that is if they were selling the brand with the land, which they're specifically not doing. In fact, the Gray family seems to intend to expand the Gray's Cafeteria brand, and I would love to see some satellite locations open up here in other towns around the Indiana area. Maybe have a location here in Indianapolis. I could see a location in Bloomington doing very well, or a Greenwood location doing very well, areas like that. But then it just seems like a misstep and a misfire to sell your flagship location that is a thriving, by all accounts, business. So the $10 million price tag leads me to question how serious they are about actually selling it. But, anything is possible. Real estate is certainly hopping. There could be an out-of-state investor, probably somebody from China who wants to gobble up the land and use it for who knows what. So that being said, make sure to just take your time and cherish the institution while it's still here. On Wednesday, I had some of their beef noodles. My lady friend who I went with had their prime rib. We had some rhubarb pie and macaroni and cheese, green beans, all of it great stuff. Gray Brothers Cafeteria, a mainstay for Hoosiers. And you know, I mean, people travel from out of state, from around the tri-state area, just to go to this place because the food is that darn good. I hope they don't sell their flagship location, because I think it would be a loss. Even if they retain the brand and franchise it out or expand it to, you know, other locations around the area, the loss of the flagship location, I believe, is a misstep. Although, again, I'm not sure that they truly want to do it. Time will certainly tell. Here's a man who is after my own heart, producer Gavin. I am not into the gym scene, shall we say. I'm not a gym bro. So I am somewhat sweat averse when it comes to that. I don't mind working. I'll put in a hard day's work. I'll carry some concrete, saw some wood, but anything to avoid going to the gym. This guy, though, not only very physically fit, but also doing his running in blue jeans. Ran an Austin marathon in blue jeans. Here was the color commentary as it was happening live.
As you see, Janet Rono there is going to pass this guy in jeans, which is
overdressed on the bottom and underdressed on top.
Yeah, that is something quite to see. I wonder what Janet is thinking right now as she passes him. But wow, what an amazing sight to see that.
Well, if you're going to work that hard to get that sort of physique, you're going to show it off.
Oh, my.
I mean, if you can imagine producer Gavin, sorry. This guy is jacked, is what I wanted to say. I mean, he is utterly shredded, ripped. So he's got his shirt off, but then he's got the blue jeans on. So that's where they say underdressed for the top, overdressed for the bottom. Have you ever tried to run in blue jeans?
Not since being a child, and even then it's hard.
See, am I the odd man out? I will run in blue jeans, but just because I hate with a passion shorts. I think I look ridiculous in shorts with the hairy legs like Joe Biden that turned blonde in the sun. I got that going on. So, you know, me in shorts, it's just not. It's not a simpatico. Blue jeans are definitely like my flagship attire of choice. So this man, I totally get his determination, and he finished that Austin, Texas marathon in 2 hours and 42 minutes. That is quite an impressive run for a marathon. Again, in blue jeans. Man after my own heart. Thanks for listening to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot more on the way, so don't miss a moment of Saturday night on the Circle. Coming up next, your friend and mine, Conspiracy Carl, joins us for his weekly segment. Stay tuned.
In purgatory, tortured souls lie trapped somewhere between heaven and you know where. This is where we find ourselves, trapped somewhere between winter and spring, tortured by strange weather patterns.
As the weather worsens,
cold, snow, and ice.
These temperatures,
then thaw, rain, and flood. Let us be your guide through all stages of
spring,
winter, your severe winter,
spring,
and spring weather station, 93 WIBC.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Jerry.
When we first started looking for different options, we went to the internet. Really, we did choose Galaxy, and definitely happy that we did. We first had our front porch and our pool deck done. Decided we loved it so much, we had them out about 10, 11 months later to finish up and do our back porch.
Commercial or residential, 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The crews at Galaxy were great. They actually cared about my property, very punctual, knowledgeable, and just a great group of workers.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings works for any area like patios, garage floors, driveways, and around pools.
I'm 100% satisfied. It's not slippery and it's not hot. I was very impressed with the product. It's amazing that I don't burn my feet and my 6-year-old doesn't fall.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook, GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. We are out of this world.
This Valentine's season, the Ministry of Preborn invites you to become a heartbeat hero and share a love that goes beyond a box of chocolates, a love that saves lives. Every day, thousands of women are told the lie that abortion is their only option, that they can't do it, that there's no hope. But when a mother in crisis sees her baby on an ultrasound at a Preborn Network clinic, it doubles her chance of choosing life. This isn't just an image on a screen. It's all about a mother hearing her baby's heartbeat and realizing the precious gift growing inside of her. One preborn supporter said, "Knowing my gift could save a life was the most meaningful act of love I could give." For $28, you can provide an ultrasound and help a mother in crisis choose life. $140 provides 5 ultrasounds. This Valentine's season, take a stand, be bold, become a heartbeat hero. Dial pound 250 and say baby. That's pound 250 baby, or visit preborn.com/hope. That's preborn.com/hope.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Have you set any goals to improve your health this year? What about the health of your home? Just like your body, your home needs regular care to stay strong and safe. The condition of your foundation, crawl space, or basement plays a huge role in maintaining a healthy, comfortable living environment. If you're noticing cracks or leaks in your walls, interior or exterior, musty smells, mold or mildew, sticking windows or doors, heightened allergies or asthma even indoors, unwanted pests or insects, uneven sagging or bouncy floors, drainage issues around your property, these issues could indicate serious underlying problems with your home structure. Indiana Foundation Service offers a free inspection to identify what's going wrong and help prevent bigger, costlier problems down the road. Don't wait for small issues to turn into major repairs. Visit IndianaFoundation.com today to book your free inspection. Indiana Foundation Service, trusted local experts for a healthy home.
Indiana Foundation Service, reliability from the ground up.
When our folks have gone to bed, we sleep until we're almost dead. We're happy, hearted, roused about.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC. You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your Bohemian codger, Ethan Hatcher. The podcasts are uploaded to WIBC.com and Saturday Night on the Circle.fireside.fm. Plus, we're streaming live on the YouTube machine 7 to 9 Saturday night, so feel free to log in and join the fun in the live chat. The media has been sent a tizzy as they accuse Donald Trump of victim-blaming Ukraine in their conflict with Russia, as Democrats are determined to keep the global money laundering scheme alive at taxpayer expense. But are there deeper reasons for the conflict than Democrats would have you believe? From deep in the bunker comes one man with his finger on the pulse of high-stakes geopolitics. It's the international man of mystery, producer Carl, who joins us for another edition of Carl's Conspiracy Corner.
You're listening to Carl's Conspiracy Corner. The truth is out there.
Have you ever seen a commie drink a glass of water?
Well, yeah, I can't say I have.
The views expressed by Conspiracy Carl are those of Carl and Carl alone. They are not the views of his station or its distributors. I mean, obviously.
From deep beneath the streets of Indianapolis, in a concrete and lead-lined bunker, we bring you another edition of Carl's Conspiracy Corner. Tell us, producer Carl, what have you got regarding the Russia-Ukraine conflict?
Well, with that opening of yours, I mean, you basically said half of what I was going to discuss. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the point of the stager. First, you introduce the topic, and then you delve into the topic, and you you expound upon it. It's about summarizing it and then expanding upon it. This is how radio is done, producer Carl.
Not just spouting off conspiracy theories. Yeah. This is real radio.
And you can also find, of course, producer Carl. What is your website?
It's Conspiracy Corner with Carl, all C's.fireside.fm.
Definitely want to get that out there. So what do we got going on with Ukraine, Carl?
So as you were saying, the MSM is in a tizzy over Trump's posts on Truth Social that has been retweeted, also on X, basically blaming Zelensky for starting this war, although he didn't say that exactly. He didn't say that Zelensky and Ukraine started the war.
So what's your nuanced take on this? Because you're parsing out his words here.
Yeah, and he actually parsed out a little. He did a little more further explaining of what he meant, that this war was avoidable, that Zelensky, because he's dumb, basically walked into this war. But I have a different take than that. I don't think really the issue is Zelensky and Ukraine. I think that Zelensky and Ukraine are just the innocent bystanders. Apparently,
sure.
Like kids in a very unhealthy mom and dad relationship where there's beatings going on and the kids get smacked when they get in the middle of it.
Well, this is, in my opinion, sustained, irresponsible geopolitics that came from the Obama administration when they allowed the initial incursion to occur, what was it, in 2014, into the Crimea region under Obama administration, and he turned a blind eye, and it was allowed to continue. And then famously, when Biden came to power, he said that there would not be a military response if a, quote, minor incursion into Ukrainian borders were to occur. He gave permission for Russia to invade, and they did.
Yeah,
so this is irresponsibility on the administration level.
Well, it goes way further back than Obama. I mean, really, the origins of this problem go back to the end of the Cold War.
Sure.
And
when Ukraine was founded.
Yeah, well,
it was in the 90s.
Well, it was there. It wasn't founded in the 90s, but essentially as a republic.
It regained its identity.
Correct, as a nation state. And basically the West and the East, the USSR and the United States and its NATO allies, basically had worries that, hey, what's going to happen with all these nuclear bombs in the Warsaw Pact? I mean, what's going to happen if the USSR and Russia collapse? So we need to negotiate a very peaceful end to all of this. And from my research, although it's been debated because there's a lot of people saying, well, there's nothing in writing saying that NATO should not have expanded. The Russians have insisted that that was the understanding, that when we retreat from the Warsaw Pact, that the West wasn't going to go in and gobble up all those nations and essentially park themselves right next to Russia. I mean, that was even when I was going to school. See, many things haven't changed. Leftists ran the schools when I was going to school, and they're still running the schools now. So it's unbelievable to me that the leftists don't even remember their old arguments about the USSR, that it wasn't just Russia. They added all of these surrounding countries like Poland.
Yeah, they were gobbled up behind the Iron Curtain.
Like Poland, like Romania, and like Latvia and Lithuania, because they wanted to have buffer states against the West. And so the same logic applies. They didn't want the West right up on their door. And that was essentially, hey, the Cold War's over. We're thrilled. Of course we're going to agree. This being the West, of course we're not going to expand. Well, they did. I mean, those agreements by the West to the East were basically thrown out the window. And sure enough, by like the mid-1990s, NATO was adding countries that were hostile to Russia. So what I like in all this to being is that they were literally poking the Russian bear. And what do you expect to happen when you keep on poking the bear? The bear is eventually going to wake up.
Well, and I think that's why part of the reason why the discussion of Ukraine potentially joining NATO now has stopped. because Russia has indicated that they would respond militarily if we're going to incur like right up on their border. So that's fallen through.
Yeah, this is the red line, and you and I were discussing this before Trump actually took office. My concern is that these people are nut. I mean, I'm talking about people in the West. They're so nutty. They're willing to start World War III over what? Like, I thought the left was the peaceniks, the doves, and it's like, hey, you know, like let's have peace and like let's love everybody.
Well, in the post-Bush era, we found out just how deeply the military-industrial complex is in bed with many in the Congress because their pockets are lined with these military contractors.
Yeah,
that's what keeps it going.
I understand the corruption. I'm not saying it's justified, but I understand the corruption. What frustrates me is that the people that vote for these people aren't seeing the hypocrisy. Like first you were against the military-industrial complex, and now you're for it. All of a sudden, like you're like hawkish against Russia.
They can't keep their arguments consistent. Like you mentioned, of course, you have a soundbite here where Obama was chiding Mitt Romney very famously for, citing Russia as a threat to international politics. He's like, oh, leave that Cold War era politics behind yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
There, Mitt Romney.
Yeah, so why don't we play that?
All right, yeah, let's pull that up.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that al-Qaeda is a threat, because a few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because the Cold War's been over for 20 years.
Yeah.
But now, of course, they say that, Russia's this big threat, and they're all offended that Donald Trump would, lay any responsibility at the feet of Ukraine or its leadership.
Yeah, as I was explaining earlier, this is what Russia has done is been provoked into this, and I think that they were foolish into getting pulled in. But at some point, there had to be an answer because what if Russia? In fact, we almost had a nuclear crisis during the Cuban Missile Crisis when they were sending nukes to Cuba right on our doorstep. We wouldn't like that any bit. And so Russia was going to respond, and Ukraine essentially, historically, is basically the birth of Mother Russia. This is like this was a place that they were not going to allow this to stand. And when in 2014, when Obama and the neocons, and when I say the neocons, I'm talking about like the Victoria Nulands, who have historic hatreds because their families are from that part of the world. They have historic hatreds towards Russia. They all of a sudden are getting us involved in their personal problems, and they overthrew the legitimately democratically elected government of Ukraine for a pro-Western friendly government. And so what ended up happening shortly after 2014 is that there were certain states of Ukraine that says, we're not having any part of this. These are the majority Russian ethnic communities. They were like, we don't want to be part of this Ukraine. We want to be out. And Zelensky wasn't the president then, but whoever was in charge of the new Ukraine started attacking these regions. And that's where this really all begins. This doesn't begin in 2022 when Russia, or 2023 when Russia invaded Ukraine.
I agree with you that this has been a mistake for Russia to be baited into the conflict, because think about how their prominence has been greatly diminished as a result of this conflict in Ukraine. Like originally, the military analysts were predicting, Russia's going to roll in there. They're going to steamroll Ukraine. Yeah. It'll be a couple of days, couple of weeks, and the war will be over. And then we found out Russia's been a paper tiger basically since the collapse of the USSR. They don't have their military put together. They're a bunch of rusted hunks of junk.
Yeah, well, sadly, this is a meat grinder for both nations. There was no reason to have this.
No.
And I'll say this lastly. It's very interesting that the left was very chummy about the USSR when the USSR existed. I remember those days. I remember Ted Kennedy going over like, don't listen to that crazy Reagan guy. We're not going to listen to him. And now, with them not being communists, all of a sudden they're anti-Russia. So what does that tell you?
It tells you there's no consistency on the left, but we already knew that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for another edition, Carl.
Good to be here.
And thank you for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Stay tuned for more on 93 WIBC.
In purgatory, tortured souls lie trapped somewhere between heaven and you know where. This is where we find ourselves trapped somewhere between winter and spring, tortured by strange weather patterns.
As the weather worsens,
Cold, snow, and ice.
These temperatures.
Then thaw, rain, and flood. Let us be your guide through all stages of
spring,
winter, your severe winter,
spring,
and spring weather station, 93 WIBC.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're running a small business, every dollar counts. And there's lots of ways you could try saving money, like, say, subletting half your office to an exotic pet shop. Or downsizing your fleet of catering trucks to a fleet of catering scooters. Or you could try a smarter way to save. Switch to Comcast Business Mobile. It could save you up to 70% on business wireless compared to AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. And save you the hassle of having a parrot as your desk mate. So don't compromise your business to save money. Keep it growing with Comcast Business Mobile. An incredible value and smarter way to save. Comcast Business Mobile, powering smarter savings, powering possibilities.
Restrictions apply. Compares weighted average of providers based on optimized pricing. Comcast Business Internet required. Reduced speeds after data usage included with plan. Savings may vary.
If this is the year to build your custom dream home, Joyner Homes is ready to help make your dream come true. They offer the flexibility to build on your own lot, allowing you to build a home in the place you've always envisioned. A dedicated in-house team of experts will guide you through every step, offering unmatched personalization and flexibility. Joyner Homes provides clear and upfront pricing and floor plans to inspire you. There's no time like the present to get in touch with Joyner Homes to talk about your vision and learn more about their building process. Visit JoynerHomes.com.
Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing. Have you been dreaming of kitchen updates since the new year began? My friends at Hope Plumbing want you to love your plumbing. Update your faucets, fixtures, water heaters, and more with a $100 off a $500 plus plumbing service. Make your remodel dreams or small home update wishes come true and start to love your plumbing again. Call and schedule an appointment today at 317-641-HOPE or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
Dents happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that can mess up the look of your vehicle. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal. PDR is paintless dent removal that saves your factory finish and is way less invasive than traditional body shop repairs. And it's faster too, sometimes same day. Google Kill a Dent Removal and check out the reviews and photos. Then schedule your repair. Hail baseballs, kids, fender benders, shopping carts, flying cows, angry X's, and anything else that leaves dents. Don't paint your car. Go PDR with Kill a Dent Removal.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
When our folks have gone to bed, we stay until we're almost dead. We're happy, hearted, rouse the
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Wrapping things up here on Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. That's producer Gavin, who's been filling in and doing a great job stepping up for producer Jack, who is out this week. Producer Gavin, beep, 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 pushing those buttons and doing the things to make the show function. If you haven't done us a huge favor already, please log on to the YouTube machine. Find us streaming live on 93 WIBC. Go ahead and subscribe to the station, by the way, if you haven't done so already. Click on my show, give it a like. It helps the station, helps my show, helps us all with the algorithm on the YouTube machine, and expands our broadcasting reach. So you are a very integral part in the success of the station, both here in the city TV and also online in the YouTube atmosphere. This segment, of course, I wanted to discuss Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who apparently is a listener of WIBC. I couldn't believe this, producer Gavin. This predates you, but this is a program that Traffic Director Matt Baer has brainstormed for here in the Hoosier Heartland, being a proposal, Pot for Potholes. Legalization of marijuana here in Indiana that would then be taxed to fund our deteriorating roadways, which seems like a fair exchange for me, to me, does it not?
That sounds genius.
That sounds fantastic. And Governor Gretchen Whitmer evidently taken cues from our very own traffic director, because Pot for Potholes is exactly what Michigan is going to do now.
Fixing the potholes with higher taxes on marijuana. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is proposing to raise the wholesale tax on marijuana products by more than 30% to fund road repairs. WSBT 22 Cicely Porter with reaction from local dispensaries about the proposal.
Fixing the roads is an initiative most people can get around, but at what cost? Dispensaries say the tax increase would not only hurt the cannabis business, but could cause the customers to get the product in an unsafe way.
Higher priced pot, but fewer potholes. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has a plan to fix Michigan roads, but to fund the repairs, she's proposing a 32% wholesale tax on marijuana products. Many dispensaries sharing frustration and concern.
We want more money. Yeah, more money.
More money from where?
Just more money, you know.
Now, I think a lot of the cannabis dispensaries do have cause for concern, because this 30% rate increase potentially on marijuana taxation would double the rate of taxation in the state, and consumers typically don't appreciate 100% price hike on anything, let alone their consumables and marijuana, which might just push them back into the black market, a phenomenon that's happened in California because of the over taxation that they have levied on marijuana. Then it's still cheaper just to buy from your neighborhood dealer than it is to go buy legally, quote unquote, from a dispensary. Again, they're missing out on the tax revenue. So there's balances and trade-offs to be had. Certainly, I think Indiana would stand to profit gobs and gobs if we were to legalize marijuana recreationally or medicinally here within the state. Sadly, not going to happen this session. Every single bill, every single proposal has been killed in the legislative session. So, yet another year that we are lagging behind our neighbors as the sole outlier. Every other bordering state has legalized marijuana in some capacity, whether it's recreationally, whether it's medicinally. Every bordering state has already done so, and they're still doing just fine. In fact, there's only been benefits as they have reduced crime and grown revenue. Speaking of reducing crime, yet another thing that the fundraising efforts of marijuana could be put to, putting together some day programs for wayward youth. I mentioned, of course, at the end of last hour that 13-year-old who had been arrested in Detroit, also in Michigan, handily enough, so they could be using that tax increase to maybe alleviate some of these other issues of these wayward youths who are completely left without parents and without any level of accountability, it seems, until it's far too late. Here was the snippet of the 13-year-old who had been caught breaking into homes for the last 3 years in over a dozen separate instances.
Linked to at least 11 break-ins and assaults across the two cities. This mother tells Local 4 Friday she's relieved, but still cannot believe he's only 13. The teen is accused of breaking into her home on Anderson Street earlier this week and attacking her 10-year-old with a knife.
And so I go towards my hallway and I see a guy just shoot out from her room. So I just got to yelling, "Get out of my house, get my gun, go get my gun."
Another woman says a man believed to be the 13-year-old attacked her daughter on Northway about a week prior.
This young man, whoever it is, threatened her with a knife and some scissors and told her to take her clothes off.
And if she didn't, she was told he would kill her. Right now, police say they've recovered DNA and a knife, and they're working on a timeline. They believe his first break-in goes back to 2022. His alleged victim then, only 9. He would have been just 10 years old back then. And recently, police say the teenage suspect's behavior becoming more daring and violent.
It's a very scary thing for anybody, let alone a young girl, to be in their bedroom sleeping and have someone grab them.
He's guilty! You can see it on his smug little face. Guilty! I say guilty! Guilty! No!
So anytime you can remove transactions, remove things from the sphere of the black market and bring them into the light of the free market, then you are improving the safety and the quality of the experience for the consumers, as well as freeing up resources, very valuable resources, for law enforcement to handle the serious situations like this violent young intruder who are legitimate threats to their community. So there are better ways that we could be spending our time than by enforcing these incredibly outdated marijuana laws that have already been proven to be disastrous during the Prohibition era. Clearly, Americans learned nothing when they outlawed alcohol and only proceeded to empower vast criminal networks and empires because they pushed that into the black market. They created the mafia. They created these criminal networks and gangs that then took a stranglehold to American cities for the better part of a decade. And similarly, that has been done with these quote-unquote war on drugs that America has clearly lost. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I will be out next week, preempted by the Sportsgetball, but I will be returning second week in March. In the meantime, I leave you with my parting words of wisdom. As always, wherever you are, whoever you're with, whatever you're doing, remember that life is a state of mind. See you in 2 weeks, folks.
In purgatory, tortured souls lie.
This Valentine's season, the Ministry of Preborn invites you to become a heartbeat hero and share a love that goes beyond a box of chocolates, a love that saves lives. Every day, thousands of women are told the lie that abortion is their only option, that they can't do it, that there's no hope. But when a mother in crisis sees her baby on an ultrasound at a Preborn Network clinic, it doubles her chance of choosing life. This isn't just an image on a screen. It's all about a mother hearing her baby's heartbeat and realizing the precious gift growing inside of her. One Preborn supporter said, "Knowing my gift could save a life was the most meaningful act of love I could give." For $28, you can provide an ultrasound and help a mother in crisis choose life. $140 provides 5